A very good afternoon to one and all present. I welcome you all to one of the most exciting and happening sessions of the year as we have amongst us Striver YouTube sensation, Mr. Raj Vikramaditya from Google. Sir is here to interact with us on coding strategies. Having his expertise in competitive programming, data structure, and algorithms, he has also worked for eminent entities and organizations like Amazon and Media.net. I think these words speak volumes about the caliber and the intelligence. So it would make more sense to take it further without wasting any time. And before we start, I would request Principal Man to hand over a bouquet to our guest as a welcome.
Thank you so much for the wonderful words.
Okay, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. How's everyone doing? Another here. You guys have not have lunch or what?
How are you guys? Okay, how many first years are here?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, how many second years?
Yes, sir.
How many third year? Okay, how many fourth year? How many of you are placed?
Congratulations, by the way. So, to start off with, just in case you don't know me, thank you, sir, for the wonderful introduction. So, I'll just skip the next slide. Okay, so when you got into this college, what was your expectations in terms of placements? Can any one of you raise your hands and speak on this? Anyone, come on, be frank. That's nothing, yeah. Getting a good product-based company. What was your expected average placement that you thought, okay, after 4 years, this is what I'll end up with? Okay, so he says 8 to 10 lakhs. So, do you know how much a product-based company pays in India? Anyone? Anyone? Sorry? Okay. 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 So most of you, when you join colleges, just because you did not get into these tax, IIT, NIT, triple IITs, because generally these colleges are known to capture the newspaper headlines that the guy got 1 CR package, the guy got 50 lakh package. I think some days by one of the guys from Europe had 2 CR package. How many of you have heard about this? So do you think college time matters? How many of you think? How many of you think college time matters? How many of you? It does, it does. There's nothing to be shy of. You can easily raise your hands. It does matters. But does it mean that if you do not get into these colleges, is it the end of the life? I'll say one word. The answer is no. Because when you give your JE, it's just 18, 19, probably someone might be 17. That is your age, right? That's when you don't even start your life. You're not even an adult, right? So how can you say that it's the end of the life? Does give you a lot of benefit over colleges. You belong, does give you a lot of benefits. Voice. Let's understand what you miss out if you're not a part of an IIT or a big college. So if you end into one of these colleges, what eventually happens is you have your first couple of years where you do whatever you wish to, you can do whatever you wish to. And the moment the third year begins, in the beginning of the third years, there are companies like Amazon, Flipkart, Google, Microsoft, you can name, the list is never ending. So these companies come up in your third year in IITs and they hire for internships, couple of months internship, okay? And once they hire for couple of months internship, so hardly they have couple of rounds. And for those couple of rounds, what you need to study is basic data structure algorithms. Not even very higher level of DS algo, very basic level of DS algo. And eventually, after third year, in your fourth year, you join that organization as an intern, as a 2-month intern, and you get converted with a package. So once you get into these colleges, if you get an internship, it's hardly a couple of months hard work. That is where they get the benefit that they have colleges, they have companies visiting their campuses. Now you might think, okay, bhaiya, what if Amazon में नहीं हुआ जब मैं उस campus placement में गया? They have hundreds of companies lining up. इसमें नहीं होगा, उसमें होगा, उसमें नहीं होगा. एक दिन में 50-60 companies आती है एक दिन में. That's where you miss out. Okay. Now, how do we curb the difference? Because you might feel, okay, these are IITs and IITs, why are you even talking about that? So how do we curb this difference? That's the third point. Now, the companies that I did talk about was Amazon, Flipkart, Google, Microsoft, and much more. So how do you actually get into these companies? Do they actually not hire non-IITians, non-NITians, non-triple IITians, whatever you can call? They do hire, but the number is less. Let's understand the point. The number is less. When it comes to IIT, they go into an IIT and they get across 40 people, right? And I think there are around 20 something IITs. Or if I take all the Tier 1, Tier 2 colleges, there are hundreds of Tier 1, Tier 2 colleges. So probably they have a major chunk from there, but they still have vacancies left. Might not be 500, 600, but they will have hundreds, 150 vacancies across India. Let's be very honest and blunt on this. Across India, they have hundreds. Okay, but you can get. It isn't that you cannot make it to that 100 because Tier 1 people after placement se ho gaya. Apart, बाकी जो Tier 3 वाले आते हैं, like you consider yourself Tier 3, even I also consider myself Tier 3. So you can get into those hundreds of openings, right? So they hire at the back end of the fourth year, not third year. Third year पे 2 महीने का internships hire नहीं करते हैं, ठीक है? Fourth year में आके they will hire for full-time opportunities. You have to keep a track कि fourth year आएगा, Amazon hire करेगा ही करेगा, Google hire करेगा ही करेगा, Microsoft करेगा ही करेगा, Flipkart करेगा ही करेगा, Swiggy, JustPay, you can name Coordination, Media.net, कोई भी कंपनी है, ऑफ कैंपस हायरिंग होती है. प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है, हमें पता ही नहीं होता है. अब हमें पता भी होता है तो हम हमारी औकात के बाहर है. How many of you think this over here that if given a chance to interview at Google, अभी तुम लोग accept ही नहीं करोगे to interview? How many of you will not? If I give you a chance to interview at Google, you'll say I'm not ready. How many of you? Let's be honest. Come on, let's be honest. I see every one of you. Every one of you think that. Why is that? Why? That's the question. Why don't you do something in your 4 years? यार ठीक है, NIT ठीक है, JEE Mains से एडवांस नहीं निकला. 4 साल होते हैं इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस के. 4 साल के बाद में 3 साल होते हैं. चलो फोर्थ ईयर को माइनस कर देते हैं. 3 साल होते हैं. 3 साल अगर आप हर दिन भी थोड़ा कोडिंग करो, वो जो 100-200 ओपनिंग है ना, यू कैन गेट इनटू दैट, राइट? डोंट थिंक अगर IITs नहीं हुआ या फिर कुछ नहीं हुआ तो इट्स द एंड ऑफ द लाइफ. सो लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड कि यू कैन इजीली गेट इनटू दिस. ऐसा नहीं है कि इम्पॉसिबल है और इम्प्रोबेबल है. इट्स possible if you are ready, but most of the people are not ready. So what stops us? Why are we not ready? When we get into these colleges, we tend to self reject ourselves because we think yaar JEE Mains nahi hua, JEE Advanced nahi hua, we don't belong there. We don't belong there. How many of you think कि मतलब नहीं होगा हमसे? जैसे मैंने उससे पूछा एवरेज प्लेसमेंट उसने क्या एक्सपेक्ट किया था. He said clearly 8-10. Why did he not think of कि I will make it to Google? That's my question. Why did he not think of I'll make it to Amazon? यार अगर तुम सोचोगे नहीं तो तुम पहुंचोगे कैसे? है कि नहीं? अगर तुम भाई पहला दिन ही बोल रहे हो मेरे से 8-10 होगा, एक चीज याद रखना, अगर तुम यहाँ पे सोचते हो तो यहाँ एंड करते हो. अगर तुम 8-10 सोच रहे हो तो 5-6 में एंड करोगे, है कि नहीं? भाई अगर तुम सोचोगे ही नहीं, अपने आप को प्रिपेयर ही नहीं करोगे, हाउ विल यू मेक इट? So stop self rejecting. That's a very important point. In my college, when I was in my first year, I started doing competitive programming. People said यार क्या कर रहा है, डेव कर, ये कर, वो कर.
नॉर्मल पैकेज ले, बट अगर मैं उस टाइम पे सोचता कि हाँ भाई मैं वहां बिलोंग कर नहीं सकता, probably I would have not stand here and अभी शायद मैं बात नहीं कर रहा होगा. So stop self rejecting yourself guys. अंदर बहुत पोटेंशियल होता है. अगर ठीक है मतलब शायद आईआईटीएन जितना हम में फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री का दिमाग नहीं है, फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री की वजह से ही तो मतलब क्या ही पूछा था जेईई मेंस में, फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री कंप्यूटर था ना, सॉरी मैथ्स था ना, मुझे तो फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री अभी भी नहीं आता. इट्स ओके. सो 2 subjects or 3 subjects do not define your future. So first point is whenever in whichever year you are, you can be in your 4th year as well. Placement हो चुकी है 4th year में, कोई है 4th year में यहाँ पे? What's your age? 21. Start of life. ये बच्चे ही तो है कि नहीं? मैं भी वही हूँ. तो it is starting off. So even if now also you can start, I think you can still end up being there, right? So just accept this fact कि self reject नहीं करना है. We can work hard and बहुत online resources है जो मैं आगे बात करूँगा. You can easily make it. ठीक है? Let's come to the next thing. Introvert nature. Most of you come into the college in the first year and second year, groups बनाते ही नहीं हो. आते हो कॉलेज, बैग उठा के कॉलेज से चले जाते हो, है कि नहीं? या फिर कितने लोग मतलब यहाँ पे फर्स्ट ईयर में ग्रुप बना के कोडिंग किए हो, बताना. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव डन कोडिंग इन योर फर्स्ट ईयर सेकंड ईयर, मेकिंग अ ग्रुप or probably speaking out? Anyone? Why? If you don't compete among yourself, how will you develop that? So stop being introvert, yaar. Try to make groups, and I'm not saying make 30 people group, make 5 people group, make 6 people group. So have that introvert nature gone. छोटा सा ग्रुप बना. क्या होता है ना, आप जब अकेले कॉन्टेस्ट देते हो या फिर मैं बात करूंगा कॉन्टेस्ट वगैरह के बारे में, तो जब अकेले कोडिंग करते हो, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट कोडिंग. आप अकेले एक दिन करोगे, 2 दिन करोगे, नेक्स्ट दिन लाइक छोड़ते हैं, अच्छा शादी में जाना है, नेक्स्ट दिन पार्टी में जाना है, नेक्स्ट दिन इसके साथ घूमने जाना है. यू बेसिकली एंड अप मिसिंग. बट व्हेन यू डू इन अ ग्रुप ऑफ 5, जब तुम देखते हो ना 4 बंदा कर रहा है, तो तुम भी करोगे, तुमको लगेगा यार आई विल मिस आउट. सो व्हेन यू मेक ग्रुप्स, you will always be motivated because of other people. हम मतलब 5 जन ऐसा ग्रुप मत बनाना 5वीं पार्टी कर रहे हो. Don't make such a group, okay? So next thing, inconsistency and running behind FOMO nature. यहाँ पे कितने लोगों ने वेब डेवलपमेंट किया है? कौन है? वेब डेवलपमेंट तो बहुत लोगों ने किया, ओके? कितने लोगों ने मशीन लर्निंग किया है? बहुत लोग शर्म, मतलब मैं मजाक उड़ा दूंगा, उनके हाथ नहीं उठा रहा है. So it's okay. I see over the couple of like some people who said machine learning भी किया है, web dev भी किया है. DSA कितने लोगों ने किया है? देखो उधर DSA भी किया उन्होंने. So inconsistency, that's the point. What people generally tend to do is, आप जो फर्स्ट ईयर में होते हो, you start probably आप इससे सुनते हो ये पाइथन कर रहा है, पाइथन, ओह वाओ पाइथन सुनने में कितना इंटरेस्टिंग लगता है ना, कूल लगता है ना. फर्स्ट में लगता था कि नहीं, जब किसी सुनता था ये पाइथन में कोड करता है. It used to happen with me at least. मतलब बगल वाला रूममेट बोला मुझे पाइथन आता है, I was like भाई पाइथन आता है. फर्स्ट टाइम में ये भी होता है, कुछ बंदे गेम डेवलप कर लेते हैं, तो थोड़ा सा फोमो वाला. फोमो इज बेसिकली फियर ऑफ मिसिंग आउट. You have a fear of missing out कि भाई वो मेरे ईयर में है, इतना आगे चला गया, मैं तो पीछे हूँ. करेक्ट. अचानक सेकंड ईयर में कोई आता है, भाई मैं आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस और बिग कीवर्ड्स मैंने ये प्रेडिक्ट कर दिया एमएल मॉडल लगा के. सुनते हो या फिर कहीं तो सुनते होगे, एंड यू आर लाइक अच्छा भाई मैं मशीन लर्निंग नहीं कर रहा, मिसिंग आउट होता है. Even I was a part of it. I did web development, machine learning, everything. But what I made sure was I was consistent on one thing. That was coding, DS algo. I did everything, but I made sure उस everything के साथ एक ऐसा चीज रखो जिसमें you are a master. When I say master, अगर मैं तुमसे खड़ा करके तुम्हें कुछ भी पूछूं, पहले मैं बता दूंगा. मुझे पेन एंड पेपर दे, मैं बता दूंगा. अगर तुम वेब डेव कर रहे हो, इतना अच्छा बन जाओ कि मैं बोलूं भाई ये डेवलप कर दे, तो ये नहीं बोलोगे मेरे से होगा नहीं, बोलोगे हाँ मैं कर दूंगा. इफ यू आर डूइंग डीएसए, अगर मैं बोलता चल मैं तेरा इंटरव्यू लेता हूं, तुम बोलोगे चलो इंटरव्यू ले लो. तुम ये नहीं बोलोगे भैया इस क्वेश्चंस में से पूछना. वो कॉन्फिडेंस लाओ. सो हैव दैट इनकंसिस्टेंसी रिमूव्ड कि सब कुछ करना है. बी कंसिस्टेंट ऑन अ स्टफ, साइड बाय साइड आप साइड हसल्स करो, बट डीएस algo is something which you have to be consistent and stop running behind foremost. That's the next thing. Okay, road map. कितने लोग YouTube वीडियोस देखते हो? सब रोड मैप देखते हो ना? कितने लोग फॉलो करते हो? अगर you follow the road maps, 2 जन बोला पीछे सबने हाथ उठाया कि मैं रोड मैप तो देखता हूँ, लेकिन सिर्फ 2 जने जो रोड मैप्स फॉलो करते हैं। क्यों, ऐसा क्यों होता है? क्योंकि आपको पता ही नहीं होता है आपको कहाँ एंड करना है। यू सी अ रोड मैप विच स्टेट्स बिकम अ प्रो इन कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोग्रामिंग, लाइक चलो देखते हैं, एक दिन मोटिवेशन आता है, फॉलो करते हो, नेक्स्ट दिन नहीं होता। You see something like how to get into Amazon and you again see that roadmap and next दिन you don't follow, right? तो क्यों होता है पता है? आप श्योर नहीं हो आपको कहाँ एंड अप करना है। यार खुद से पूछो, जब आप 4th ईयर मतलब फर्स्ट ईयर में कॉलेज आते हो, हैव योर विजन क्लियर? देयर कैन बी लॉट ऑफ करियर अपॉर्चुनिटीज। आई एम नॉट सेइंग get into Google, get into Amazon. That's not my point of view. I'm saying get yourself clear what you want to do after these 4 years. Ask yourself, after these 4 years, do I want to do an MTech? Do I want to do a master's? Do I want to get into a product-based company? Do I want to get a startup of my own, or do I want to get into a startup where I work 14 hours a day? Let's be very honest. If you work in a startup for 1 year, if you work at Google for 1 year, you will learn 5x or 4x in a startup rather than learning at Google, because they work in a very higher scale. बहुत जल्दी काम करते हैं, but yeah, you'll not learn a lot of other things जो बाद में बताता हूँ। So पहले खुद से पूछो यार, जब फर्स्ट ईयर में आते हो क्या करना है? अगर गेट करना है तो भाई पढ़ाई करो गेट के लिए, मास्टर्स करना है यूएस में जाके उसके लिए पढ़ाई करो। अगर भाई जैसे मेरा विजन बहुत क्लियर था, I'll tell you about my vision. My vision was very straightforward. I was like 4th ईयर के बाद मुझे एक ऐसा जॉब चाहिए कि मुझे कभी पढ़ाई नहीं करना पड़े, क्योंकि मुझे बुक्स नहीं पसंद है। Like I am someone who absolutely hates books. I was very clear कि भाई मुझे जॉब चाहिए। तो मैंने कभी ना गेट के लिए प्रिपेयर किया, ना मैंने कभी मास्टर्स के लिए किया, मैंने सिर्फ कोडिंग किया। तो आप लोगों से बहुत लोग ऐसे होते हो, या जॉब के लिए भी प्रिपेयर करते हो, मास्टर्स के लिए भी करते हो राइट, गेट के लिए भी करते हो, और इतने जगह जब आप करने लगते हो ना, फिर प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है। 10 जगह अगर हाथ पैर मारोगे आप फिर कहीं के नहीं रहोगे। हो सकता है कोई एक जन अच्छा कर ले, बट मेजोरिटी विल एंड अप, ठीक है गेट भी निकल जाएगा, कोई टॉप आईआईटीज नहीं निकलेगा। That's the problem, right? Okay, let's understand the hiring differences between startup. As I said, most of you over here are listening because they want to obviously earn a good amount, right? Let's understand the hiring differences, because without understanding the hiring differences, we'll not be able to figure out how to prepare. Because मैं सिर्फ बोल दूंगा prepare ऐसे ऐसे कर लो तो नहीं होता है, हमें समझना पड़ेगा hiring स्ट्रक्चर क्या होती है, क्या डिफरेंसेस होती है, क्या पे स्केल होती है, सब कुछ मैं बताता हूँ इस सेकंड पॉइंट पे। अरे एवरीवन इज कंफर्टेबल इन हिंदी, राइट? ओके, perfect. So when I talk about a startup, so what's a startup? A company that is established 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Swiggy is a startup, Zomato is a startup, it's running from 7-8 years. These are called startups whose employees are like very limited in number. Okay, so and globally they are not widespread. We can call them as startups, या फिर वैसे वाले चीज को कह सकते हो आप startups, ठीक है? तो usually startups are looking for people who are experienced, ठीक है? Experienced. They don't want to take someone who's a rookie. Like they will not prefer taking a 4th year who doesn't know anything and उसको 6 महीने ट्रेनिंग देने पे बिलीव ही नहीं करते। क्यों? क्योंकि मैं अगर एक रूकी को लेता हूँ, I have to train him for 6 months, so that's an 6 months का मेरा पैसा वेस्ट हो रहा है। So I'm going to pay him, right? If he's taking a salary, I'm going to pay him. And as a startup, I don't want wastage of money. I want 6 months. If I'm paying him, I take 6 months back work. So what they want is someone who's an experienced guy. Now obviously freshers cannot be experienced, so they will always look out for people who have done projects, good projects. If you're talking about web development, you have done very good projects on them. If you're talking about machine learning, you have done very good projects on them. They basically aim at people who have done projects or who have done internships. It can be paid, it can be unpaid, but you have work experience. It can be via projects or via internships, right? So they will not grill you so much on coding questions. The coding questions asked in a startup will be very easy. Like if you know basic DSA, you will sail through. Okay, so that's how you can get into a startup. So if you're straightforward, if you're aiming a startup, grill webd or machine learning, grill any one field, try to grab internships, try to have basic DSA knowledge and make as many projects impactful. Don't make something as a Facebook clone. Please don't put that into your resume. Take a Facebook clone, Instagram clone, don't make them. Make something which does solve a problem. Let's talk about the other thing, Fang or Mang, whatever you want to call it, because Facebook got renamed as Metaverse. Okay, how many of you want to get into Fang? Wait, no one. Okay, we just have 4 people. Okay, so if you're not interested into getting into Fang, then it's a big negative side, because let's talk about Fang. Why Fang? What is Fang? Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google. Okay, and क्यों इतना hyped क्यों है? Let's understand इतना hyped क्यों है. First reason is pay scale. Immensely high, immensely high. It's not even near about anything that the startups pay. Base बराबर कर देता है. Stocks, like for an example, I'll give you a example. Google pays you 4 साल में अभी currently 40 लाख के stocks. Talk about 40 lakh ke stocks. Let's give you an example. I had one of my friends who goes by the name Abdullah. He is from one of the colleges nearby. He belongs to Mumbai. Probably you can just Google Abdullah, you'll get his college name. I forgot his college name. So, sorry, LR Tiwari Engineering College. So he got a placement at Google in 2019. So he was my friend from 2018. We used to, as I said, groups bana. So वो मेरे group में था. We used to code. He got a package of 1.2 crore. Talking about 1.2 CR is what he got, and he did not graduate. He got a package in United Kingdom. So उसको stocks उस time पे मिले थे 65-70 lakh. Okay, and Google के stocks बहुत बढ़ते हैं अगर आप share market वगैरह में invest करते हो. Google stocks does increase a lot, and अभी वो बैठा है stock पे 2.5 crore. He's sitting on a stock of 2.5 crore, and his age is just 23. So हम बहुत बार सोचते हैं यार ये इन हैंड कितना मिल रहा है. स्टॉक की बहुत बड़ी वैल्यू होती है जो फैंग में होता है. स्टार्टअप्स के ठीक है, स्टार्टअप लिस्ट होगा 10 साल बाद. Startup will get listed after 10 years and it will take time to grow. For an example, let's take Paytm. Paytm got listed, right? So imagine whoever was working at Paytm, you would have had a lot of ESOPs, but it eventually went down. Similarly with Zomato. But let's talk about Nykaa, right? If you would have heard about Nykaa, the stocks went twice. So startup is something which does not guarantee, but FANG is something which is over here to stay. Because if you talk about Google, आपका हर चीज यार Google में है. आप Gmail यूज करते हो सबके सब, है कि नहीं? आप लोग Google Drive यूज करते हो हर चीज स्टोर करने के लिए. आप Google सर्च यूज करते हो, छोड़ा सब कुछ भूल जाओ. सर्च के बिना तो जिंदगी नहीं है. तो अगर हम मैं सोचूं कि क्या आप इसको लाइफ से हटा सकते हो, आंसर इज नो. तो दे विल ऑलवेज ग्रो. नो मैटर हु कम्स इन, दे विल एक्वायर देम. खरीद लेंगे उनको यार, हमेशा ग्रो करेंगे. दैट्स व्हाई पीपल टेंड टू वर्क एट FANG बिकॉज ऑफ द पे स्केल. मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दे दिया पे स्केल का. बेस सब कुछ नहीं होता, स्टॉक्स बोनसेस देते हैं. सेकंड इज एम्प्लॉय ट्रीटमेंट. एम्प्लॉय ट्रीटमेंट एट स्टार्टअप्स. आप सुबह के 9 बजे उठ रहे हो, लैपटॉप खोले हो, अब रात को कब सोगे आपको पता नहीं. एंड दैट्स रियलिटी. आपको लगे हाँ भाई मैं तो बहुत सीखूंगा. एक पॉइंट के बाद दिल भी लाइक ठीक है, बट यू वांट वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस. यू कैन प्रॉब्ली आस्क योर टीचर्स ओवर हियर. एवरीवन वांट्स वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस. 2 साल काम कर लोगे, 3 साल काम कर लोगे, उसके बाद आपको वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस चाहिए. When it comes to FANG, it gives you an amazing work life balance. Amazing. Like for example, I'll give you my example. मैं 8 घंटे काम करता हूँ. 8 घंटे के बाद मेरा लैपटॉप बंद होता है, मैं कभी नहीं खोलता लैपटॉप. और नेक्स्ट दिन मैं ऑफिस टाइम में ही खोलता हूँ. 8 hours is where I work. It's completely okay if I don't reply to messages after my working hours or before my working hours. तो आपको एम्प्लॉय फ्रेंडली बहुत मिलता है. और एक अच्छा सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ जो आई वाज टॉकिंग टू प्रिंसिपल मैडम. इफ यू गेट मैरिड you get 2 months paid holiday. Okay, so which is again very good. Apart from that, you get a lot of health insurances. तो FANG में काफी चीजें मिलते हैं. And let's talk about the hiring structure. क्या FANG में बंदों को एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए? Why do so much of freshers get into FANG? तो मैंने बोला अब्दुल्ला हो गया, फिर कोई हो गया, फिर let's talk about me also. Why do we get into FANG? हमें क्या कुछ डेवलप करना आता है? अब मेरे को तो वेबसाइट बनाने मुझे 4 दिन लगेगा, मेरे को टाइम लगेगा. मैं नहीं बोला मैं प्रोफेशनल डेवलपर. FANG क्या बोलता है कि हम इस पे हम टैलेंट पे इन्वेस्ट करेंगे. हम टैलेंट को 6 महीना, 1 साल, 2 साल ट्रेन करेंगे. एंड जब वो ट्रेन करेंगे ना, ही विल बिकम अ प्रोडक्ट. जो प्रोडक्ट बनेगा, ही विल सर्व अस फॉर अ लॉन्गर रन. तो FANG की ये थिंकिंग होती है. एंड हायरिंग क्या होती है, स्ट्रक्चर. डू दे रिक्वायर एक्सपीरियंस? एज आई सेड, नो. Google takes 5 6 rounds था, 6 rounds. 5 राउंड में 40-40 मिनट के राउंड होते हैं. 40 मिनट में क्या पूछते हैं पता है? एक क्वेश्चन ले लो, सॉल्व करो. 5 राउंड में 5 क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर दो, लो पैकेज लेके चले. कुछ नहीं है, आपका रिज्यूमे भी नहीं देखेंगे. They won't ask you आपने एफडी किया है कि मशीन लर्निंग किया है. 5 राउंड 5 क्वेश्चंस, you solve, you get a package. As simple as that. 5 क्वेश्चन इजी नहीं होते. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि ऐसे हो जाएगा. But that's about Google. Amazon, 1 coding round, 2 questions, again coding questions. 4 rounds, first 3 rounds data structure algorithms, last round managerial round जहाँ पे operating system पढ़े हो, DBMS पढ़े हो, computer networks पढ़े हो. That's what they asked. Again, majority DS algo. ठीक है? Take Microsoft, again same procedure. 4 rounds, 3 DSA, 1 managerial. Flipkart, almost the same. Even if it's a startup, it's almost the same. So DSA, you don't have to look out for internships क्योंकि startups के लिए आपको internships खोजना पड़ेगा, project बनाना पड़ेगा, which is kind of very tough when you are in your 3rd year 4th year की college होती है, उसके साथ internships करना, project करना बहुत tough होता है. But अगर आप coding करते हो, so you can get into FANG. So that's what I am trying to tell you. Try to get into FANG, and the last reason will convince you क्यों आपको बड़े companies target करना चाहिए, ना कि जैसे 8-10 LPS सोच के बैठना चाहिए. And the reason is, मैंने आपको स्टार्टिंग में बोला था आईटी से सब हायर हो जाते हैं, लेकिन जो स्टार्टअप से होते हैं मतलब आईटी से अमेज़न हायर करने के बाद भी इंडिया में 100 और हायरिंग करती है. 100 तो बहुत कम है. इस साल शायद 800 या 900 इंटर्न्स हायर किए थे. 800 या 900 इंटर्न्स. लिंक्डइन भर गया होगा अगर लिंक्डइन यूज करते हो. 6 months इंटर्न ज्वाइनिंग. तो when I talk about startups, they're very lesser in number. So the openings they have would be 5, 6, 10, 12. So you have to be in that 10, 12. In that 10, 12, उसमें भी अगर कोई उनको experience मिल गया तुमको लेंगे नहीं. So the amount, the numbers are less. I'm not saying you cannot get into. I'm saying the numbers are less. Thereby the probability of getting into those companies are significantly less. Whereas when I talk about FANG, the number of openings are significantly higher. At 800 interns, you can be among the best 800. Can you? You can be, right? So just try to be among the best 800. That's not that tough. So when the numbers are big, the probability of getting into anywhere is rather bigger, right? So that's the next point. Okay. So I've been talking about DSA. So how should you exactly master data structures and algorithms? A lot of people will say you do competitive programming. A lot of people will say do lead code. A lot of people will say do GFG. Okay, so what have you guys been doing across these 4 years or across these 3 years? खाना वाना खाया नहीं हो क्या यार? मैं इतना जोर से बोला तुम लोग बोल ही नहीं रहे हो. What have you been doing? Have you been doing? Oh yeah, come on, let's have the volume up. Let's have the volume up. At least थोड़ा तो volume रखो. When I used to do sessions in my college, everyone was like चिल्ला रहे थे ना. ऊपर से सब आ जाते थे टीचर लोग. So have your volume up, man. Oh, teachers are sitting there. इसलिए चिल्ला नहीं रहे.
Please forget that we are sitting.
Yeah, please forget. Mom has told. Okay. So, what have you done? How many of you have done lead code? Okay. How many of you have done GFG? Okay. How many have you done computer programming? Okay. I see one girl over there, couple of boys over here. Okay, cool. So, very less. Okay, let's understand how do you exactly master DS. As I said, all the interview rounds will be of coding, right? So, one way is you grind lead code right from your first year. What is lead code? Lead code is nothing but a platform where you get a set of questions. For example, let's take array as a topic. You will get a bunch of questions on array tagged as easy, medium, hard. Okay. Similarly, let's assume binary search. So you get binary search questions, easy, medium, hard. Similarly, you can get all the other topics on lead code. Now, how should you do it? Most of the people do it in the wrong way. What they do is they take up a topic, binary search, and they say, I will be doing all problems of binary search. And eventually they end up wasting 4 months, 5 months on a single topic. And when they do easy, they're like, oh, bhai, kitna easy hai. When they do medium, they're like, oh, theek hai, ban raha hai. When they do hard, hai, mere bas ka hi nahi hai. That's basically the graph that happens. So should you do it that way? The answer to that is no. Why? Because when you're in your first year, your brain has not developed that much. Everything requires time, right? You might feel you're mature enough. I might feel I'm mature enough, but we are not. Eventually, with every year passing by, we get mature more and more. And someone who is elder than us will be more mature. Similarly, is how our brain functions. In our first year, no matter how we try, if we take harder problems, our brain would not have that compatibility to actually accept and solve that harder problem. Let's understand this. So what you need to do is you pick up topics. Okay, so how do you get the topics? Just go to any random website who is selling courses. Don't buy that course. Who's selling that course? Go to that syllabus. Just look at the syllabus. In the syllabus, there will be written arrays, binary search, linear search, sorting. All these topics will be written. कि उनका वीडियो है, खरीदने का जरूरत नहीं. Topic को उठाओ, okay, and do easy medium problems on lead code from that. Okay, do all the topics. Don't do hard. Don't even think of doing hard. Just do easy medium topics, questions of all topics. Done all the topics. Come back. Your brain would have matured a lot more because you have done so many topics. It would have taken probably 1 year, 14, 15 months. So your brain would have gone into a different level now. Correct? So after that, get back into the topic that you left, binary search hard that you left. Now start doing from that. And again, now complete it. So in this way, this is one of the ways in which you can do everything topic wise. Okay. So should you just do this? That's the question. As I said, Lead Code is a platform. Geeks for Geeks is a very good platform. And there's a lot of other things like Code Studio, Code Chef, Code Forces now. What is Code Chef and Code Forces? How many of you know what is Code Chef? How many of you have heard of it? ये वाला साइड क्या होगा? कुछ सुना नहीं है. हाथ में क्यों उठा? So, what is Code Chef? Code Chef is basically a platform where we have regular contests. ठीक है. अभी एक चीज बताओ, विराट कोहली अगर सारा दिन प्रैक्टिस ही करेगा तो क्या बात, मैच में अच्छा खेलेगा? सीधा वर्ल्ड कप में उसको खिलाऊंगा 3 साल प्रैक्टिस करवा के, तो अच्छा चलेगा क्या? हो सकता है नहीं चले. तो अगर ये बीच में वनडे मैचेस, T20 मैचेस क्यों होते हैं? प्रैक्टिस, रियल टाइम मैच प्रैक्टिस. That's where these first couple of platforms will come. Code Chef and Code Forces. First couple of platforms for real time practice for your 3 years starting from first year. Start Code Chef, okay, or start Code Forces, whichever you feel like. There are contests every month, every week. Treat contest as an ODI match or a T20 match. There's a timer that goes on. ठीक है, timer चलता है. Timer का importance क्या है समझते हैं. जब Code Chef पे मैं क्यों बोल रहा हूँ podcast में? कल को जब आप 4th year पे जाते हो, आप इंटरव्यूज पे जाते हो, राइट? एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल्स, मैंने देखा लेग शिवर करता है इंटरव्यू पे जाते टाइम. दे स्टैमर. इफ आई आस्क देम अ क्वेश्चन दे विल स्टैमर. व्हाई? बिकॉज़ इट्स देयर फर्स्ट इंटरव्यू. इफ आई आस्क देम समथिंग आउट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, they'll be freaking out. Why does this happen? Because it's the first time you are experiencing something like a 1 hour, पता है 1 घंटे का इंटरव्यू है, पता ही नहीं है क्या क्वेश्चन पूछने वाला है. हो सकता है कुछ नया क्वेश्चन पूछ दे, तो आपने वैसा चीज एक्सपीरियंस ही नहीं किया. तो जब आप 4th year में पहुंचते हो तो आपको लगता है भाई क्या सब हो रहा है, और फिर आप स्टैमर करने लगते हो. ठीक है, तो अगर आप कोड शेफ और कोड फोर्सेस पे कॉन्टेस्ट करते हो, एक टाइमर चलता है 2 घंटे का. 2 घंटे में आपको क्वेश्चन देते हैं 5-6. ठीक है, मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ 5-6 करो, आप 1 करो पहला दिन, चलो 0 करो पहला दिन. उसके बाद देखो पहला कैसा बनता है. ऐसे करते रहो 3 साल. 3 साल ना आप अगर ये करोगे, मैंने तो 3 साल यही किया कोड शेफ और कोड फोर्सेस. क्या होता है, 2 घंटा कुछ नहीं करता था. मैं हॉस्टल रूम पे ऐसे रहता था, टाइमर शुरू होता था रात को 8 बजे कॉन्टेस्ट होता है, फिर 10 बजे द टाइमर स्टार्टेड. आई वाज लाइक जस्ट कोडिंग, नो लेफ्ट नो राइट. फर्स्ट थिंग दैट इंप्रूव्ड वाज कंसंट्रेशन पावर इमेंसली. क्योंकि जब टाइमर चलता है ना, आप अगर 1 सेकंड भी लेट होगा ना तो आपका रैंकिंग गिर जाता है. ठीक है, तो मुझे रहता था मुझे तो रैंक नहीं खोना है भाई, मैं लेफ्ट ना देखता था ना राइट. आई जस्ट यूज्ड टू कोड. सो ऑल थ्रूआउट दीस 2 hours you will be straightly focused on your screen and on your notepad. So you build your concentrating power immensely, which is going to help you in an interview. In an interview, you're not going to think outside world because you're going to just concentrate on the interviewer and he's speaking. So that's going to help you. And the other thing that's going to, जो मैंने बोला कि और एक चीज क्या है, इंटरव्यू जब एक अननोन क्वेश्चन पूछ देता है बहुत लोग फ्रीक आउट कर जाते हैं. आपने से बहुत लोग रिवर्स लिंक पढ़े होंगे, बाइनरी का हाइट निकालना पड़े होंगे, राइट? ये साल को you'd have read about this. What if I just twist this question and ask a different new question? Like कैसे करेंगे? और ना most of the cases, यार मैंने तो यही क्वेश्चन किए थे, ये तो पूछा ही नहीं. Happens with most of them. Happens with most of the people in India. But if you give Code Chef and Code Forces for 3 years, every week you are given a contest where you experience a new set of problems. new set. You're going into the laptop, you don't know what is the question going to be, but you're very sure that the question will be new. And if you're solving that new set of questions, it's going to be very, very beneficial. So eventually, when you get into your 4th year, you'd have been so used to solving new questions. Like, पूछ ले भाई, जो पूछना है पूछ ले, वैसा हो जाएगा. और वो वाला माहौल जब बन जाएगा ना, फिर आप इंटरव्यू से डरोगे नहीं. आप ये जो सेल्फ रिजेक्शन है ना, बोलते हो अभी मैं प्रिपेयर्ड नहीं हूँ, आप लोग ले ले भाई, कब इंटरव्यू लेने ये बता. So you have to have that attitude, and that will only come if you start giving contests. Either you can give a contest at Code Chef, there's a long challenge. At Code Forces, there are weekly contests going on. At Lead Code, on Sunday, 8 o'clock in the morning, there's a contest. और वो लीड कोड की कॉन्टेस्ट मैं रात को सॉल्व करता हूँ. अगर आपसे नहीं बन रहा है तो आप रात को मेरे चैनल पे आके देख सकते हो, मैं आराम से सॉल्व करता हूँ, सीख भी जाओगे. So these 3 platforms do every contest that happens. Okay, how much is CP important? Okay, a lot of people will say CP is overhyped. Again, agreed. CP is basically competitive programming. That's definitely overhyped. Do you require CP to get into Google or Amazon? No. मैंने जो पिछला वाला स्ट्रैटेजी बोला, लीड कोड का सारा टॉपिक्स भी करोगे तो बहुत लोग यहाँ से चलाया था, बहुत लोग चलाया था. बट सीपी का वैसे एडवांटेज क्या है? लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ डूइंग कॉम्पिटिटिव प्रोग्रामिंग. अगर मैं आज विराट कोहली को लाके क्लब क्रिकेट में खिलाऊंगा, कितने रन मारेगा? कितने? How much will he score if I ask Virat Kohli to play in a club cricket match? How much? 100 मारेगा, 200 नहीं मारेगा. पहले बॉल पे आउट हो जाएगा. अरे तेरी खराब फॉर्म चल रहा है क्या? 71 सेंचुरी मार देगा और क्या. Anyways, so basically क्या होता है जब आप CP करते हो ना, CP is basically the bigger version. I can relate that to cricket and say it's a bigger version where Virat Kohli plays ODI cricket and then I suddenly ask him how club cricket खेलो. तो क्लब क्रिकेट में अच्छा करेगा ही ना. That is what CP is to DSA. If you do CP, when you are given DSA questions, you are like, अरे ये तो ऐसे बनेगा, अरे ये तो ऐसे बनेगा, and eventually your level is on that level. मतलब करना जरूर, क्लब क्रिकेट खेलने के लिए इंडिया खेलना थोड़ी जरूरी है. और अगर खेल सकते हो तो क्यों नहीं खेलोगे? है कि नहीं? That's the point. That is, I think that's the best answer that I could give. How much CP is important. So start doing competitive programming, Code Chef, Code Forces. If you are in your first year, I will highly recommend भाई अभी शुरू कर दो. 3 साल अच्छे से करो. It's my guarantee that you will end up at somewhere big in your 4th year. Okay, before going to ask me anything, I will just share a quick story, because before just going to ask me anything, a lot of people would think कि भैया हमारे कॉलेज में तो कंपनीज आती ही नहीं है. How to manage referrals? आप इस सारी कंपनीज में अप्लाई कैसे करोगे? अरे भैया आप तो बता रहे हो प्रिपेयर कर लो, अप्लाई कैसे करोगे? So in order to apply to these companies, what you need to do is connections. Have you heard about LinkedIn? How many of you have profile on there? Okay, everyone has. Okay. Have you made connections? No. Yes. Okay. Right from your first year, try to look for company peoples. Let's take an example, Amazon. What I'll do is, in my first year, I'll write Amazon and I'll send 100, 200 people connection requests. Okay, do that. And do that every day. Take any company, random company, send 100 people. I take 100 में 10 accept करेंगे, कर तो लेंगे. So you eventually build connections. So whenever in your 4th year, let's say Amazon is hiring, let's say Google is hiring, and you get to know कि ये hire कर रहा है. So what you will do is, वो जो 10 connection बने थे ना first year में, उनको तो आप मैसेज कर सकते हो अभी. You don't have to wait. क्योंकि आप ऐसे क्या होगा, फिर कनेक्शन भेजोगे, वो एक्सेप्ट करेगा, फिर आप मैसेज करोगे, तब तक तो भाई वहां हायरिंग हो भी चुकी होगी. तो सच अगर आपका इनिशियली कनेक्शन बना के रखे हो, आप उसको मैसेज कर देना, कैन यू प्लीज, और ये मत लिखना कैन यू प्लीज रेफर मी. ट्राई टू राइट 6-7 सॉलिड लाइन्स कि भैया आई बिलोंग टू सो एंड सो कॉलेज. लिख भी सकते हो, नहीं भी लिख सकते हो. This is what I've done. Like for example, I'm very good at problem solving because I have been active at Code Forces for the last 3 years, where I've solved over 200 contests, or I've solved over 500 problems on Lead Code. I've done projects on so and so on the basis of these text stack. ठीक है, ये ऐसे 7 लाइन लिखो, and I'm attaching my resume right below here. You can refer here for like more details. तो अगर 7 लाइन ऐसा लिखोगे ना कि जहां मुझे समझ में आ जाए भाई ये बंदा तो कोडिंग सही किया है, मैं रेफर करूंगा. अब देखो भैया आप इतना टाइम क्यों वेस्ट करोगे आप रेफर करने में? किसको पता है? Why will I waste my time, or rather why will I give my time to refer you? Anyone knows that? Okay, bonus, that's good. So if I refer, one of the candidates to a software engineering role, I get 1 lakh rupees. Yeah, I get 1 lakh rupees in hand. So just imagine the number of connections that I have. If I end up referring 100 people, I make 1 crore per year. Just giving numbers, I'm not referring that many. So people are gonna refer you. If I see पैसे हैं मैं refer करूँगा. Give me tendency, man. अगर मैं देख रहा हूँ बंदा talented है मैं क्यों नहीं करूँगा? The probability of a talented people getting a job is significantly higher. है कि नहीं? आप खुद yes ma'am. Yes. Now only if you are selected, definitely. And if you're talented, there's a very high probability that you will get selected. So if your 7 lines give me an impression that this guy deserves or this guy has a very high probability of selected, I will definitely do on the 2 basis. Is okay, he must get an opportunity. The second is I'll get money if he gets. And that's human tendency. It works everywhere. Okay, so that's how you get referrals. And just make sure 7 lines अच्छे लिखो. Don't write shit 7 lines. अगर वो 7 लाइन आप अच्छे नहीं लिखे ना, बंदा रेज्यूमे भी खोलेगा नहीं, कुछ नहीं करेगा. कैंपस एम्बेसडर लिंक्डइन हेडलाइन में मत लिखना. Try to write in LinkedIn headline what you have done. That would give me a better idea. Anyone, like you can reach out to anyone. That's more about how do you get opportunities. I think I've pretty much covered everything, isn't it? Have I left with something? I think I've covered most of the thing. So it's time for you guys to ask questions. If you have any doubts, just make sure do not ask repetitive questions. The stuff that I've spoken on, if it's on aligning on the same line, you can ignore that. But if you have any other doubts, I'll take some doubts. Okay, so who goes first? Anyone who you can just raise your hands. You can just raise your hand. Yeah. What? Okay, sure. I'll take those queries. So there are students, by the way, for everyone who's online here on Zoom, I'll take your queries right after this. So probably from the seminar hall, if anyone has a query. Yeah, I think there's the mic is with someone right there in the corner. Yeah, hi.
So Raj, my question is like, if not DSA, any alternative path to get into bank?
No. The only reason is they're gonna ask you DSA questions. So if you have not done DSA, how will you crack? You might get after 6 years, but then also there is 2 DSA rounds. So once even you get an experience, and then also they will ask you 1, 2 DSA rounds. So if you want to get into these companies, they try to check. Now you might ask me, hey, few DSA पूछते हैं यार development में. When you go into development, there are stuffs when you use data structures like graphs. बहुत जगह Google ना, for example, so prime example when you use graphs, shortest paths. आप लोगों को लगता है क्या लिंक लिस्ट कहाँ यूज होता होगा? जब आप करोगे तो array list वगैरह यूज करते हो, तो उनमें से एक के पीछे अगर आप implementation करोगे link list is there. So data structures is important no matter how much old you grow. So you have to do if you have to get into bank startups के लिए चलें. Okay, other guys at Zoom, you can definitely ping it on the chat. I'm reading the chats.
Yeah. You told that we should start from the 4th year and spend 3 years on the website. So personally, I didn't know about those websites, and now I'm already in 3rd year. So how should I start for the 4th year?
Okay, you're in the 4th year. So I'll say you should start with lead code. So there is something which goes as SDE sheet. So if you just Google SDE sheet, you'll get a selected list of 180 questions that I used myself to prepare during my time. So I have picked them up and put them into a website of mine, and that's being used across every college in India. Almost most of the people use the SDE sheet. There's 180 questions on an array. There are 6 questions on graphs. There are 10, 12 questions on values. So there are 6. And do those list of questions. Eventually, it will take 7 to 8 months if you're just starting off, and doesn't matter where you join after your 4th year. After that, try switching. It's the best alternate path. So I'll take a doubt from the chat section. Sir, how to crack? Hey Striver, can you tell me? I am from EXTC. I have electronics and computer science. I have no major projects in CSE, but have knowledge in DSA, what should I do? Okay, so a lot of people say I have a knowledge in DSA, but I don't have major projects. So what you can do is for projects, like what I did was I went into Udemy. The courses are very, very cheap, and it hardly takes you 400 rupees or 420 rupees per course. And over there, they teach you to build something very good. Like if you have seen any of the Udemy courses, they end up teaching you building a something, either an e-commerce website or either something of that sort. They teach you. Take up a Udemy course, just make a project from that, and when you build that something from that Udemy course, try to add some features on it. ठीक है, थोड़ा extra features add करो. Don't do कि उसने ये नाम दिया तो मुझे भी वही नाम देना है. If you had given the same color, I have to also try experimenting, try changing subtle changes and add features, and you can work. Like if you are very good at DSA, these kind of projects will help you to sail through. Anyone from the seminar? Yeah. Sure.
Okay, Kaiwa, I have been following your channel from like a year, and I have seen the piece. So I want to ask you one. Like, you are instructor at GF.
Yeah.
Then you work at media outside. So I've seen one thing that you are highly motivated. So how is it that you manage so many things, like working full time and also teaching people, then creating free playlists, and then moving towards from Amazon internship to media outside and Google. So how do you stay motivated? Because everyone dreams to get a good job, to get a high pay, to get rich. But if you see something, then you work for a few days or weeks, then something comes in between exams, and then you get demotivated and you stop working. So what is it that keeps you constantly working for like long periods of time? Constantly.
I'll definitely answer that. So how many of you know that my initial days, like I was in Mumbai for the first 5 years when I was born? How many of you know? Okay, some people know. So I was in Mumbai. I'll share a story, and probably that will definitely motivate you. Okay, so I was in Mumbai for the first 5 years, and my dad had a very, very meager job of 2,000 rupees per month. Okay, at that time, and we used to stay. If you have heard about Goregaon West, Oshiwara bus depot, right behind that there was a slum, right? So we used to stay over there, and we were a family of three. We had a कितना छोटा room था, इतना सा room था, and we did not have. We used to use public washroom line लेके, and that was when I was 5 years. And यहाँ पे आंगनबाड़ीज होते हैं, तो मैं आंगनबाड़ी में एडमिशन लिया था initially, and फ्री होता है आंगनबाड़ी, but हर मम्मी पापा का सपना होता है कि आपका बच्चा अच्छे से पढ़े. So they moved on to some English medium, but they could not afford क्योंकि बाप की सैलरी बहुत मीगर थी. So we decided to move out of Mumbai at that moment. He left his job. He took me to Kolkata, and over there he tried to put me into some school. और स्कूल ने मेरे को लिया नहीं क्योंकि मुझे तब मराठी आती, अब नहीं आती है, तब आती थी मराठी थोड़ी बहुत. एंड उन्हें चाहिए था कि आपको हिंदी या बंगाली है सेकंड लैंग्वेज, मुझे कुछ नहीं आता. तो मैं एक साल उधर के घर में बैठा, एंड मम्मी ने मेरे को थोड़ा हिंदी बहुत सिखाया. उस टाइम मैं जैसे तैसे स्कूल में गया, एंड फिर 10-12 निकला. तो इफ यू लाइक आई से आपने अपने चिप्स कुरकुरे का पैकेट या चिप्स का पैकेट कौन सा एज पे खाया पहले, सबसे पहले was the study of ate it? हाँ, okay. I ate it in class 10. वो भी एकदम रो रो के कि वो चिटोस याद है आप लोग को? चिटोस में एक स्पिनर मिलता था कि, so मुझे वो चाहिए था और मुझे चिप्स नहीं चाहिए था, तो मैंने मम्मी को एकदम रो रो के लिया था क्लास 10 में. That was the financial condition of my family during those days. And class 12 में जब मैं I was actually good in studies. I will not say I was not good. I was good in studies. तो class 12 में मेरा J-Means नहीं निकला. And सबके तरह ही मतलब private colleges where there, private colleges were demanding काफी ज़्यादा, which my father could not afford. So what I did was I took a drop, and मैंने जैसे तैसे अच्छा रैंक लाया. I could not get into IITs, but I got into a government engineering college जहाँ पे मुझे per month 1,000 rupees ही देना पड़ता था. So my engineering was absolutely at no cost. And then third year में my father lost his job. That was during my third year. And कोलकाता में पापा जॉब करते थे, तो पापा ने एक फ्लैट, एक कार, सबके शौक होते हैं, पापा के भी थे. So I'll not say anything good. So he took everything on an EMI. So he lost his job. So he had some savings. 6-7 महीने चले गए. उसके बाद मेरी Amazon internship शुरू हुई थी उस टाइम में. तो Amazon internship के टाइम Amazon ने कॉल किया था. 19 को सेमेस्टर खत्म हुआ था. 19 December. I still remember that. 19 December is when the semester was ending. and I got a mail on 17th of December at 10 o'clock in night कि 20 दिसंबर को हैदराबाद आना है आपको इंटरव्यू के लिए, एंड 20 दिसंबर को जो आना है सेक्शन में नीचे से छोटा सा लिखा हुआ था टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन, यू विल नॉट बी रीइंबर्स्ड, ओके। एंड सब 19 तारीख को मेरा सेमेस्टर खत्म हो रहा है, एंड आई वाज इन सम दार्जिलिंग, अगर आपको पता है शिलीगुड़ी दार्जिलिंग, वहां से मैं अगर ट्रेन लेके जाता तो इट विल बी 36 आवर्स और 42 आवर्स, तो मुझे फ्लाइट ही लेना था और उसके पापा का जॉब भी नहीं था, तो मैं तब जीएफजी में आर्टिकल्स लिखता था, एंड एक आर्टिकल के 200 रुपए मिलते थे, 200-250, मैं बहुत आर्टिकल्स लिखता था, कभी सर्च करना स्ट्राइवर जीएफजी, आई गॉट अ बंच ऑफ आर्टिकल्स दैट आई हैव रिटन ऑन जीएफजी, तो मेरे पास था कुछ 19,000 रुपए उस टाइम पे, 17,000 का फ्लाइट का टिकट पड़ा था, मुझे अभी भी याद है, सो आई इन्वेस्टेड दैट 17,000, आई टुक अ वन वे टिकट, मेरे पास वापस आने का टिकट नहीं था, आई जस्ट वेंट टू हैदराबाद, एंड जो सेमेस्टर एग्जाम 19 को खत्म हो रहा था, बागडोगरा एयरपोर्ट है, इट्स अ मिलिट्री एयरपोर्ट, जो लास्ट फ्लाइट टेक ऑफ होता है 5 बजे होता है, और मेरे कॉलेज से 3 घंटे लगते हैं उस एयरपोर्ट पहुंचने में, आपको पता है 5 बजे फ्लाइट है तो 3 बजे पहुंचना है, 2 घंटा पहले, तो मैंने सेमेस्टर एग्जाम 1 घंटे भी छोड़ के भाग गया, आई वाज दैट गाय, 3 घंटे एग्जाम में मैं 1 घंटे में भाग गया, तुम लोग मत भागना, सो आई जस्ट वेंट, आई वेंट ओवर देयर इन फ्लाइट, एंड अमेज़न में उस दिन सेम होता आज जैसे मेरे साथ हुआ, विजिबिलिटी कम था दिसंबर के टाइम, बाहर दिल्ली का मेरा फ्लाइट, तो मैं दिल्ली तो पहुंच गया, दिल्ली से टेक ऑफ ही नहीं किया पूरा रात में, रात को 10 बजे फ्लाइट था, फ्लाइट टेक ऑफ ही नहीं किया, एंड मैं पूरा रात जगा हुआ था, पूरा रात, क्योंकि फ्लाइट पूरा 1 घंटा डिले, 1 घंटा डिले, 1 घंटा डिले, सुबह 5 बजे टेक ऑफ किया, और मैं हैदराबाद लैंड किया 8 बजे, 3 घंटा लगता है दिल्ली से, 8 बजे लैंड किया, सीधा इंटरव्यू देने चला गया, एंड मैंने रिक्वेस्ट किया तो दे टुक माय इंटरव्यूज वेरी अर्ली, I got the internship over there, and when I called my dad, he was super happy. And मेरे पास उस टाइम पे भी रिटर्न आने का टिकट नहीं था, दिनों में कैसे आया, मैं 35 घंटे जनरल ट्रेन में आया था, मतलब सिकंदराबाद मेल बोल की ट्रेन चलती है हैदराबाद टू हावड़ा, आई जस्ट टुक अ जनरल टिकट 350 or 400 रुपीस का था, मैं वो लिया, and I took a general train, I had a bag of 4 kilos, laptop, सब कुछ, formals, shoes, I took it on 35 घंटे में जनरल में आया था उससे, but when you go through these things now, you value stuffs. Always remember, अगर आपने बुरा टाइम देखा ना, आप अच्छा टाइम देखोगे, तो मैं जब Amazon रिटर्न शुरू किया, as I said, सब EMI पे था, तो there was a moment, अगर हम एक महीना का EMI नहीं भरते तो आप that would have cost. So I cleared my EMI at that time, and then I thought, and we still stay in a very small house, it's just 350 square feet. And उसमें मैं रिकॉर्ड करता हूँ तो मम्मी पापा सो नहीं पाते रात को, तो that's what motivates me basically to bring up a smile on parents. Always think, जब भी आप मोटिवेशन चाहिए think what is that.
Okay, so I have another question. More question is, so when you started competition programs, like when Abdullah Khan got job, you started. So at that time, not many resources were available. There were like very few resources for DSA or anything. So what is the like learning strategy for learning things for which resources are not available? Like right now, there are plenty of resources all over the network, but there are many things like if you want to learn in depth, many things like that, there's TypeScript and anything which are documentation. Like even if you do code forces problem, so many difficult problems do not have like an explained solution or video. Only the difficult verbose code is there. So how do you manage to learn those things so nicely that you not only can apply them and use those concepts, but also teach them, like you do in your playlist, how do you manage to get that getting that intuition and that depth into learning anything? What's your strategy?
So do you know when you get into a company, you'll not get videos. What do you get when you get into companies? Plain documentation. You have to learn Python, you have to go through, if you have to learn Django, you have to go through documentation. So I was always a fan of reading and writing. As I said, I wrote around 500 plus articles on GFG. So I always wrote articles. So usually what happens is, आप लोग को चाहिए कि कोई बोल दे, आप लोगों को मन नहीं करता पढ़ने का, है कि नहीं? लाइक भाई कोई मुझे आके वहां बोल दे ये ऐसे होगा ये ऐसे होगा, वो सुन लोगे, लेकिन अगर मैं उसको लिंक दूं ना तो पढ़ोगे, तो it's your fault, it's not documentation or resources fault. You're not concentrating enough to read it. There were always resources. The problem is we as humans don't wanna concentrate a lot. Lead code जो मैं वीकली कॉन्टेस्ट करता हूँ ना, रात में आके सॉल्व, अरे डिस्कशन फोरम पे तो आंसर्स रहते हैं, तब भी लोग आते हैं ना मेरे को देखने, 15-20 हजार लोग तो रोज आते हैं देखने, क्यों आते हैं? क्योंकि उन्हें पढ़ना ही नहीं है, डिस्कशन करो, उन्हें चाहिए कोई भाई हाथ पकड़ के. That's what students are. Once you get into the industry, you don't have option. आप जब इंडस्ट्री पे जाओगे, फॉर एग्जांपल आई जस्ट जॉइन गूगल, तो आई हैव टाइपस्क्रिप्ट, एंगुलर है, टाइपस्क्रिप्ट है, जावा है. तो और वो लोग एंगुलर अपना इंटरनल यूज करते हैं, इंटरनल डॉक्स है, दिन भर बैठ के डॉक्स ही पढ़ता हूँ. तो धीरे धीरे क्या होगा ना, जब आप एक दो डॉक्स पढ़ना शुरू करोगे, इवेंचुअली यू विल गेट अ फेयर बिट ऑफ आइडिया अबाउट की कंसंट्रेशन. इसलिए बोलता हूँ कॉन्टेस्ट दिया करो, 2 घंटे स्क्रीन पे कंसंट्रेशन रहेगा. जितना कंसंट्रेटिंग पावर बढ़ाओ, like the more you increase your concentrating power, the more you will understand things on an easier version. That's the answer. You have any more questions?
Yeah.
Okay, you will take all the questions or what? Let others take, or I'll take it afterwards. Okay. Anyone else over here? I'll take something from here. Okay, Aman is asking, I am in 4th year, have done little lead code, easy question from GFG web coding. Are those enough? I think I answered that to that guy, that you have to just make sure you do 180, 200 questions on that list, and that will help you. CP is, as I said, it's not mandatory. If you want to do, you can, but without CP also you can get it. Anyways, anyone from over here? We're done with, I think I've answered everything, right? Okay. I'll scan from here. No questions? No questions? No questions? No questions. Okay, so any contact number? Sorry, I will not share my contact number. Otherwise, my WhatsApp will be bombarded with text. Anyways, I think that's it from my side. Thank you to everyone out here for coming, and special mention to the organizers for organizing this wonderful event. Thank you to all the faculties for the warm welcome. And yeah, if you still have questions and if you're shy around to ask, right at over here, my Instagram DM is always open. Just don't ask how to do DSA. Make sure the questions are legit. You can definitely ping me on Instagram. I am very active over there. Or you can join our Telegram group. You can actually just click on that link, and you'll get all my links, be it all the YouTube channels, all the LinkedIn, Telegram, everything. You'll get all the links on that link, and you can definitely join our Telegram group. If you have any doubts, I'm active generally right at 12 a.m. in the night to 4 a.m. That's when I reply. Just tag me at Striver on our Telegram group. Don't ask doubts which are very generic. If you have some problems, feel free to ask over here. And also, if you are prepared and if you feel that you have done a bunch of questions, if I give you any unknown questions, you can do it. Feel free to reach out. I will be more than happy to refer, because I'm gonna get money, right? Cool. So that's more or less from my side. Thank you guys. Thank you. It has been wonderful.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure this has been the most energetic and the most motivating session in so many months and weeks to come. And I'm sure students must have figured out what has to be done exactly. And I'm sure after this session, each and everyone will be able to identify their vision, their goals, and to set the roadmaps. Once again, can we have a huge round of applause? Well done. Now, I would request Principal Ma'am to come up and say a few words.
Not that really amazing station that what we see in our all students is I hope that every student sitting here is the future that's there are some things which maybe you all know, something which he shared with us personally. It's not that he has some very big school or big college. but it is somewhere in a remote area at Darjeeling, and with these facilities, and in spite of that, and yes, in addition to that, the most important thing what we understood was we have got into Google not through campus. Does not mean we are raising our hands. We are trying our best, but it should not be only and solely depending on the placement and training team and right from the day one. It is your own contribution. I think one of the students had asked him what makes you so energetic and what makes you so so much available and competent to do so many things. The reason is his focus is clear. That's what I understand. When we were together, he also mentioned that we should curtail the timings of what you are spending on Instagram and Facebook for certain things which are not required. At this age, what is required is focus. Everything else can be done at later stage of life because those things they are not their studies and getting a good opportunity is I think a very time-bound process. It has to happen in time. And this is a very live example. Sincere thanks from bottom of my heart for accepting the invitation without actually formally we inviting you to get to our council, a big round of applause for council. Like from inception, but I think now the council which has been coming up is becoming more and more wise. They are understanding what's more important, who to bring. They are in those days, schools they are more keen on getting celebrities because you see many celebrities around, but today they know that somebody working for Google is a bigger celebrity than somebody who's actually working. I don't know, you did not specify anything about your package, which I should everybody must be interested knowing that. I think it must be an initial stage, and we will definitely have one more thing on that. Today's package is 30 days. And it was at media.net. Today you don't want to discuss.
No, it's
Nobody will get it.
it's somewhere around the one.
Oh my God. I personally think that there should have been more enthusiasm from your side. Instead of feeling shy and just sitting as a quiet audience. Yes, it shows the discipline. I hope you take it as discipline and not because you never know it's going to interview once 1 5 years. I see many of you are capable of appearing for interview in companies like Google and when you don't expect him to recommend you just you have attended his webinar. As he said, if he's sure he's going to get 1 lakh rupees. Because you're going to get selected, he will recommend. So it's your everybody's efforts and I just had words with Tata. I know he's very young, but if not more learned, I wish him a very bright future. And I have requested him, and he is very generous to accept it without any quotations or anything. He will be our academic advisor henceforth for computer IIDA. Is a board where we invite industry people, good faculty from IIT and other institutions, and we take their opinion to enrich our curriculum, to understand what extra we should teach, to understand what extra section we should keep, to understand where we send students for internship, what is needed for an industry, apart from what you all are studying, what the student should study so that he becomes an industry ready. Time and again, this advice is required because market is changing at a rate of almost 6 months or lesser than that, and your syllabus changes after 5 years. So we need an advice from the expertise, and I think he is the youngest but the most prestigious academic advocate for us. And thanks a lot. Really, I know it's going to work. I also wanted to inform you all that we are almost on the verge of applying for NBA accreditation branch-wise, and his presence is going to matter a lot for us. It will definitely boost our placement. We have quite successful placement, but we look forward to have bigger packages.
Thank you so much.
immediate advice or comments after visiting our institute?
I'll just say one thing, guys. Just last one thing I forgot to say. I had that in my brain. Every one of you over here will be thinking the off-campus stuff. I'll just share you one stats. I belong to a college where when I joined, the average placement was 2.53 lakh. Okay. I got that package of whatever, 30 LPA in 2020, and seeing that, as I said, self-rejection. People started believing that, okay, if he can, we can also. That's always should be your motto. अगर वो कर सकते तो मैं क्यों नहीं कर सकता है? हमारा थोड़ी कुछ है. लेकिन easy तो चीज है अगर इतने resources है. 2021 batch had an average placement of 9 LPA. The 2022 current batch that graduated has an average placement of 13 LPA in our college. And the entry rank reduced to 2000 at cutoff. So it just requires someone from you. Someone from you gets a package, and eventually all the batches will follow you, and that's what you should look for. We can have one selfie with everyone if that's okay. Where's my phone, by the way? Oh yes, over here, right? Have selfie with everyone, okay? Play everyone. Okay, that's amazing. This is going to be very tough to carry, but that's too far away. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. So you have a selfie, I guess. That's okay. From which corner should I take? From this or this? This corner. Okay. Everyone, this angle is good.
Okay, that guys, those side guys can come up over here. The stack up over here because the camera's lenses are not that good. Yeah, you can. I am without mask.